Alright, so move on to the final segment. I'll be sharing my early fight preview between Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. Now, the fight was announced during the Xander Zayas and Jerron Ennis card that Rolly Romero will be defending his WBA welterweight championship against Teofimo Lopez in the month of August. So, my thoughts on this announcement: I think this is a fun 50-50 fight between Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. If you had to ask me who I would have winning the fight today, I really don't have a true 100% answer. I think this is a really good 50-50 fight in the welterweight division. The only complaint I have with Rolly Romero fighting Teofimo Lopez next is Teofimo Lopez, when we've seen him last in the sport of boxing in the month of January, when he defended his WBO super lightweight title against Shakur Stevenson, that was a belt-to-ass loss that Teofimo Lopez suffered against Shakur. Like, he lost 11 out of 12 rounds. And this is the problem with boxing. After a significant loss, certain boxers get world title opportunities. I hate that. I hate that shit in boxing. Like, you should be able to work your way towards a title shot. And Teofimo Lopez is making his debut at 147. In his new division, already gets a world title shot. I think that's the problem with boxing, but that's the only complaint I have. But a loss here for either Rolly Romero or Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, would hurt both fighters' stock moving forward. Both fighters have already lost 2 times in their boxing career, and there's nothing wrong with that when you have ambitions for fighting good competition. The problem is, if either Rolly Romero or Teofimo Lopez suffer their 3rd career loss, their stock goes down. And both always bark wanting to fight the best and top tier names in the sport. Neither one of these guys can afford a loss. And I think there's huge chips on both fighters' shoulders, especially for Rolly Romero, because he avoided fighting his mandatories for the WBA welterweight championship. He's been out of action since May of 2025, and he was chasing down some big fights against Devin Haney, a rematch with Ryan Garcia, and a possible showdown with boxing legend Manny Pacquiao. So if you're doing all this talking and wanting all these big time fights, if you're Rolly Romero, you better back it up against a top tier talent in Teofimo Lopez. But as for Teofimo Lopez making your debut at the welterweight division, a new weight class, if you lose your debut at a new weight class for a world title opportunity, not only do you go to the back of the line, but how are you going to be viewed at 147? Are you going to be viewed as a gatekeeper? Are you going to be viewed as a top-tier name for younger talent to possibly defeat in the ring? Are you still going to be known as a superstar in the sport? So there's a lot of questions that will be answered when these respective fighters share the ring with each other in August. And I want to find out, can Teofimo Lopez's orthodox style with his boxing skills and his footwork against a flat-footed fighter in Rolly Romero be too much for Rolly Romero to handle in that championship fight? And I also want to find out, can Rolly Romero expose Teofimo Lopez's suspect chin? Because we have seen Teofimo Lopez dropped in the past. The same thing can be said about Rolly Romero. But that power that Rolly Romero has, that awkward boxing style with that power that he possesses, could really hurt Teofimo Lopez as the fight goes on. Because even when he fought Shakur Stevenson, you've seen Shakur Stevenson nearly score a knockdown with him landing pity jabs against Teofimo Lopez. So if Rolly Romero can land the right power shots and possibly outbox Teofimo Lopez, that could be very interesting in the ring. So I'm definitely looking forward to this fight by the end of the summer between Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.